Hello, everybody. My name is Cory Rosen, and you're listening to The Story with Cory. And today we have a returning guest, Sweet Life Music. We have Matt and Carole here, married best friends, award-winning songwriters, performers, worship leaders, music producers, and patriots in Amish Country, PA. Since 2010, they've built a thriving tour schedule, performing up to 300 and 400 performances a year. They've scaled it back a little bit to 200. In the Mid-Atlantic states, their impressive client list includes the U.S. Army, Berkshire Hathaway, National Street Rod Association, Lions Club, National Day of Prayer, ORVIS Stores. National Day of Prayer just happened, actually.
Yes, sir.
Did you guys perform?
Not this year.
Well, next year.
Next year.
American Cruise Lines, and many more. Fans of Fleetwood Mac, Carole King, and Amy Grant will love their soft, sweet harmonies, full guitar, and heartfelt lyrics exploring worship, nostalgia, and encouragement. And you got no idea how many songs you've written, but it must be close to 1,000.
I'm thinking.
And I think you've got really good ones as well. We've reviewed some of your songs in the past.
Yes, you have.
And I must say that they are amazing. All the things I've heard from you. I consistently play Sunday morning at least once a week.
Oh, wow.
Because I like it that much. It's so good. I really do enjoy it.
I know that's your favorite.
It is my favorite,
That's
sure.
cool. Thank you, man. That's cool.
Yeah. We talked about how I was working at Jessica and Friends, and on that Easter week, I played it for them every day.
That's awesome.
I liked it so much, and it's a good Easter song.
It really is.
We sang it a couple times this Easter.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Places,
yeah, there's not many Easter songs, so.
No, I mean Christmas we got all over the place because that's just about the little baby. But when a man's being executed and brought back to life, not quite the family fuzzy that you're looking for.
No, not
necessarily. Quite. It's not the same.
Yeah, a little bit somber.
It's even better news, though.
It is even better news, yes. So, you guys haven't been here or on the show in about 2 or so years, I think.
It has been a while.
Yeah, what have you guys been up to?
Oh, my. Playing a lot of shows, building that side of it. What else have we done? Just this past Christmas we released a Christmas album talking about Christmas.
That's right.
Yeah, we did release a new Christmas album, and it's been our most popular album we've ever released. Actually,
wow.
We did 9 covers of carols. We wanted to do a lot of carols, mostly because they're public domain and you don't have to pay anybody anything. Don't tell anybody I said that though. But we just the ones that spoke to us, and then we did write one of our own. It's called "She Said Yes," and that's from the perspective of Mother Mary in Luke chapter 1 or 2, I forget, one of those two, when the angel comes to her,
yes,
and says, "This is everything that's about to go down. Are you in?" And thank God she said yes.
Right.
Right.
That passage always gets me because it's one of the few times in the Bible where someone isn't scared and an angel came down to them.
Right.
Yeah, and Mary says, the angel says, "Come, don't be afraid," and Mary says, "I'm not afraid of you."
Yeah,
What
right.
do you got to say?
Right.
And the angel says it, and she contemplates it. She is actually given time to consider this,
right.
This momentous thing, and she's in for it, and she's all in for it. I really do enjoy the Christmas story, as it were, especially with Elizabeth and Mary when they meet and both the babies jump for joy.
Right.
Yeah. Amazing, inspiring stuff. So you wrote a song about that.
We surely did. And wow, I just realized as you were speaking, it's Mother's Day.
It is Mother's Day.
Because this is, what's this, Thursday? So Mother's Day in 3 days. Guys, if you haven't gotten your mom anything, you got 3 days. Let's go. But you can get her a Christmas album. Go over to our website and you can get her a Christmas album right now with "She Said Yes" on
it's
it.
An early gift.
Early gift. Give it to her now, and then she can play it in July for Christmas in July, and then starting Thanksgiving Day, she's set. She's got her music all Christmas long. Yeah.
Is that how you guys run it from Christmas Day on? There's some people that do Christmas way early.
We start with our touring. We actually start the day after Thanksgiving. Is when our season starts, and it goes until typically the 27th or the 28th of December. So it's almost a 6-week period in there that people want to, and sometimes we'll sneak a few in ahead, And then
Sure.
usually what'll happen like is if we play a lot of the traditional like Christmas covers too, and if we're into January and it's a blah kind of day, maybe it's snowing a little bit when the concert is, and we'll sing like Baby It's Cold Outside or
See,
fun ones like that.
Here's the gripe I got with winter. It doesn't really start until January.
That's true.
And-
Like a few days before Christmas, but
Yeah. And why do we, like, I know I'm not saying we should change Christmas. But, like, you have all these songs about, oh, it's being a white Christmas, and it doesn't really ever be a white Christmas until it's January, February, and occasionally you'll get a snowstorm in March, and it's like, okay, what's happening here? I feel like we need to, like...
maybe just make it like a Pennsylvania thing where we're going to move Christmas to like the 31st or just bump it all back a week or something.
Bump it a little bit back. Yeah, right. Because I want snow on Christmas. I want snow on Christmas.
Yes.
Man.
Every year we ask.
Every year
we pray and we ask, and some years he says yes, but
and most times he just sends rain. It's like, wow. It's like 60 degrees on Christmas. What's going on here?
I'm not dreaming of a green and brown Christmas.
That's
I'm
right.
not doing that.
So, speaking of Mother's Day, we brought you particularly here because you have a few mothers, well, at least one, and now maybe two, what could be considered Mother's Day songs.
Yeah, I guess so. The other one is, I sent you the MP3 for it. It's a song called I Don't Have To.
Mm-hmm.
And that song, and we love that song. We started playing that one a couple years ago. That was on a previous album. I think back in when was that 2018? I think it was 18 and 19, and just a wonderful song. And part of what she says in there, I don't remember the lyrics, so you might have to, without singing it, do the a cappella version right here.
Yeah. We always had our Sunday best while Mama wore that same Easter dress every year with no complaints. She said it was her favorite.
Nice.
And I love that because that and in fact that came from a lady that you talked to at church, right?
Uh-huh.
And she actually said that.
Yep.
And it's just cool because I sort of half don't believe her.
Right.
You know, I think she's just covering for the fact that the fictional people in the song didn't have the money, or she was always sacrificing for the kids and for the family. So the one dress she just made do with that, and she just sort of, that was her cover story. Yeah, it's my favorite one. I just want to wear that one. And I think that's a very motherly, maternal thing to do.
Yeah, I think so.
It really is. That's
I remember my mother would sacrifice so much for me, and even my grandmother too. My grandmother, what a woman. She passed this past year, but thankfully she's with the Lord now.
good.
And one of your other songs, we'll get to that eventually, because we have that other song here. Sometimes I forget. 'Cause my grandmother had dementia as well.
Well, then we'll definitely talk about
We'll definitely
that.
talk about it
Yeah.
then. But you're right. My grandmother sacrificed so much. She uprooted her home in Pittsburgh, where she had lived for like 30 or million years, and she moved closer to us because she wanted to be closer to her daughter. Sacrificing.
Yeah.
And she had an adopted daughter over there and a family, like relatives over there. But she uprooted everything, came to us, and thankfully she did. Because the 2008 market crash happened. 4 years later, we lost our house.
Okay.
And so we would have been homeless had my grandmother not been established in the area.
Wow.
And so she sacrificed, her last of her life essentially to, taking in her daughter again and our family. And then once my mother died, she sacrificed so much to. She would call me every week at college. Hey, you got enough money for gas? Enough money for food? Just let me know. I'll send you. And it's a blessing. I kind of like, let me live a little bit, right?
Well,
right. So there's two sides of that, but no, I think mothers, they get a lot of respect, but there's always more to give.
oh my goodness. Yep, this one's the same way. This one's the same way. She sacrifices a lot for our family. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Well, should we take a listen to I Don't Have To?
Why don't we just?
This is I Don't Have To by Sweet Life Music.
When I was young, my father worked. We barely saw him from dawn to dusk. He wasn't super good with words, but we never doubted that we were loved. When I was young, my mama said, clean your room and make your bed. Sit up straight, don't talk too loud. Do good in school and make us proud. And if you ask them why they made the sacrifice, they'd say that love just made them want to pay the price. 'Cause they'd say, I don't have to do it, I don't have to do it, I don't have to do it, I do it anyway. I don't have to do it, I don't have to do it, I don't have to do it, I do it anyway for you. I love you. We always had our Sunday best, while Mama wore that same Easter dress. Every year with no complaints, she said it was her favorite. Looking back on each and every sacrifice, I pray to God above that I was worth the price. 'Cause she'd say, I don't have to do it, I don't have to do it, I don't have to do it, I do it anyway. I don't have to do it, I don't have to do it, I don't have to do it, I do it anyway for you. I love you. Now time has flown and I am grown. I've got a family of my own, a bunch of kids, and man, we're proud. Yeah, sometimes we do without. And if they ever ask me why I sacrifice, I'll say that love just makes me want to pay the price. And I'll say, I don't have to do it, I don't have to do it, I don't have to do it, I do it anyway. I don't have to do it, I don't have to do it, I don't have to do it, I do it anyway for you. I love you. I don't have to do it, I don't have to do it, I don't have to do it.
And that was I Don't Have to. I feel like that a lot. I don't have to. I don't have to do all that.
Don't have to do it, but we do it anyway.
Yeah.
That's what love does, right?
Absolutely. Love makes people crazy and a little bit nicer.
Depending on the day.
Depending on the day.
Depending on the situation.
So, you guys are writing all the time, it seems like.
Mhm.
What are you currently writing on or working on?
Working right now, our pastor just a few weeks ago said, hey, I got these lyrics. if you want to do something with them, do it. If you don't, that's okay too. And we turned his lyrics into sort of like a big anthem type of a song. And we just played that for him last night. Of course, he was in love with it, which is really good because we were nervous about that. And so that will be down the road. Who knows what will happen with that? We have a whole bunch of them. We just finished one not too long ago. Jump in here because I won't remember.
I don't know which one.
I was going to talk about the Space Force.
Oh, I don't know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, the Space Force song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's this thing that was just created a few years ago. It's a portion of the military called the Space Force. And I thought, how cool would it be? When we do our patriotic shows, we do a section where we do a medley of all the different military theme branches.
The Space Force has one.
It does not.
It does not. Okay.
But
so you made one.
We wrote a really cool one, and I'm in the midst of getting that recorded so that we can find out who we send that to try to get that to be. I don't know if we have to talk to Pete Hegseth or somebody at the top of the DOD, something like that. But well, if anybody out there knows how to get in touch with somebody at the Department of Defense or someplace like that, or the Space Force, that would be awesome, because the song is really cool. So we're working on that. We've got a lot of we're updating our covers that we play, because we need to do that every so often.
Of course.
What do you think of? Anything else?
Just have a lot of things in the mix.
Yeah,
Just
we're
working on stuff, and things are like half done.
And we're typical creative musicians in that way. We have about 50 things that are a half to 3/4 of the way done, and then they sit, because that's what we do. So we're working on trying to clean that up right now.
That's what I'm also in that season of life where it's just like, oh, I'm involved in this project and this project. My girlfriend says, you got like 10 things going on, and I'm like, yeah, oh, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
She's like, you should cut that down a little bit. And she's like, because you gotta put me in there somewhere.
Well, yeah.
I guess you're right.
In our house, we have a phrase. We say OTL. OTL means off the list. It means it's done.
Dusted.
Forget about it. Yep. And that we love OTLs. So feel free to steal that. But yeah, OTLs are the thing. So that's where we spend most of our time. I especially will wake up at 2, 3 in the morning and have this strong melody and this idea, and I have to get up out of bed, go over to the studio, and get everything recorded. And so I've got, of course, like most musicians, like most writers, we have about probably 1,000 of those that are just ideas, just seeds waiting to be born. So there's always more to do like that.
Always more to do.
Always more to do. Yes. Always.
That's a good thing.
That's a very good thing.
Yeah, if you dry up, that's like death.
That is absolutely creative death. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys deal with that a lot of creative block at all, or?
Yeah.
Seasons.
Yeah, it goes through times like that. Sometimes you go through seasons where it's like it's just coming out of you like water, and then other times it's you work, like the song She Said Yes. We spent several weeks just grinding away at that. Is this thing ever going to happen? You almost get to the point where you're like, Lord, do you not want us to do this direction? Should we go somewhere else? And then it just happens, and that moment when it happens and that spark jumps.
Fire.
Love it. Love that.
Yeah, we were just talking about the Space Force. I got a space concept album that I'm working on.
Okay.
And the concept is like hits of the 22nd century, right?
Okay.
So I'm trying to think, if Space Force, or if like SpaceX, Elon Musk, Blue Origin, if they get their way, NASA, if they get their way, eventually we're gonna have colonies on Moon, the Mars, maybe Europa if we get that far out. And I'm thinking, okay, what will and eventually industry will have to be built there. You're gonna have the first moon baby, the first Martian-born human. What songs would they write? You know what I mean?
That would be.
It's an interesting concept, isn't it?
For somebody that's not like from Earth that has gone there, but somebody that is normal for them.
That is normal. That's their home.
Huh.
What would Martian songs sound like? Yeah, Martian bluegrass. And there's gonna be different instruments made because you can't send a guitar. Well, you could, but it would be cost effective. It wouldn't be cost effective to send it.
Right.
So they're gonna have to make their own instruments and figure it out. What would that sound like? You know what I mean?
That's a crazy thought, man.
And so that's what I was trying to do.
It's-
Write songs from that perspective. And yesterday I wrote a song with Cody Tyler. Are you familiar with him?
No.
He's a country songwriter from Reading.
Okay.
Really fabulous dude. If you like patriotic songs, you should check
Mhm.
out his Eagle Tattoo song,
Okay.
which is about how his grandfather and his uncle went into the military. His grandfather, I believe, fought in World War II, actually. And he talks about how his little brother went into the military. He got a tattoo for his grandfather and his uncle. And the hook of that song is that I hope I don't have to add to his eagle tattoo,
Okay.
hoping that his brother doesn't die.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
And he's talking about how brave he is, and how I was nervous for this little needle, but you're off fighting wars.
Right.
Right. And that kind
Oh,
of
that's
thing.
deep, man.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
And so I was writing with that dude yesterday, and
That's cool.
It just we wrote a song from the perspective of a guy on Mars, and on Mars, the Earth looks like a blue shining star. It's the
Mhm.
brightest star in the sky besides the sun, obviously.
Right.
And so we called it Blue Star in the Sky.
Beautiful.
Wanting to come to Earth, and instead of us wanting to go to Mars, he wants to come back to Earth and see what it's all about.
That's deep, man.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
Fun, creative concept, right?
Yes. That's awesome. I love it.
Yes. How do we get here? It's great.
Stream of consciousness.
Stream of consciousness.
We're just you're seeing it happen. We're all live, no edits, no nothing,
That's
folks.
right.
This is what we do.
For you guys, we talked a lot about this in the previous episode, where you say your typical venues aren't what a typical musician would be. Tell me about some of the venues that you've been excited to be playing at.
Sure. It's one of those things culturally, and if you're in central Pennsylvania, you'll know this without really knowing it maybe. When you tell someone that's a stranger that doesn't know you that you're a full-time musician, the first thing they want to know is what bar or restaurant do you play in?
Yep.
We don't play in bars or restaurants because
You got banned
that's
from it.
well, we didn't get banned from it, but
Discouraged, I guess.
no. What happens? It's because we are born again believers in Jesus, and His Holy Spirit lives in us. Not to get all religious on y'all, but when you accept Him into your life, God comes into you, and then He starts to change you from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that comes out in your actions. It comes out in your in all of your decisions that you make, in your thinking, in every way. You just begin to change spontaneously and naturally. Well, it got to the point where we would play places like that when we were doing those, and people would hire us, and basically when you play at a bar, you are a glorified beer salesman.
Right.
Well, people would stop drinking because they want to listen to the music. They want to listen to the lyrics. Maybe they were feeling a little bit of conviction, like maybe I shouldn't be drinking that third, fourth, fifth, seventh, 10th beer.
Right.
And suddenly we weren't making them any money. So they didn't really want us around either. So just cool how that happened. But after we started to realize, hey, we don't fit in those places. Where do we fit? Well, then that's when the doors just like blew right off the thing, and we started taking off. And we do patriotic events for just normal folks, and then also for military folks. We did an event some years ago for the U.S. Army. They had a reunion that they were doing for a group that had fought in Vietnam, and they were celebrating an anniversary. So we got to play at a ceremony for that, and then we got to play at their party afterward. That was awesome to be able to honor those vets. But we'll do a lot of retirement communities and civic organizations, things like that, where we just get to kind of do what we're doing right now, but we'll just punctuate it with more songs than what we're doing.
Sure.
But it's the same idea, and we explain the songs and what they're about and what they mean to us and how the connection to them. And church services, we are also worship leaders, and we can do an entire service. As you can tell, I'm really shy about speaking in public.
Oh yeah.
So if your pastor needs a week off, or you get in a last minute jam and you need something like that, you can call us. We're happy to help. Everything from just music to music and the entire message, and we can just run the whole thing for you if you like. We do a lot of that.
Normal things like birthday parties, weddings,
Mhm.
funerals.
Yeah, we've done some
Birthday parties,
funerals.
weddings.
Yeah.
We've done some funerals, and those are interesting too, because not
Yeah,
everybody believes the same. So you know
Right.
you got to be sensitive to that, and Mainly, we go to places where we can just be ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and we can, for the most part, we can interact with folks and show them who we are and find out who they are. And when you do that in a crowd, as you know, there's just this back and forth, this relationship that happens, and you turn into this family for that hour or 2 hours, and I just get hooked on that. I love that.
Well, you're right. One of the theater professors that I taught on was taught under one of my theater professors. He said that there's the performers, and the audience is actually part of the performance,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you feed off the audience feeds off you, and a night can really make or break it if the audience isn't engaged, or if the audience does any sort of thing.
Right.
They're just as important as you are, the musician.
Absolutely.
And I think musicians sometimes don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Even if there's like one person out there, you know what I mean? It's still that energy matching, and you got to perform for them, and sometimes they'll even perform for you by bringing 2 people next time to see you, or 3 people, and then that turns into 10 to 20
Absolutely.
to a whole slew of people coming at
Absolutely.
you. Yeah.
Absolutely. If you can even find that one, a lot of times, thank you, Lord, what happens for us is the whole room is ours, like right here, except for like one person in the back. So then I make it my goal. Then I have a challenge, and I'm going to get you to smile. I'm going to get you to clap. I'm going to get you to do something. And typically I can do that because I'm charming. I just treat them like I treat her. My main job, we've been married over 32 years now. My main job as a husband is to make her laugh.
That's the way you keep them, right?
That's it. And if I can't, and to be honest now, if I can't make her laugh, I will settle for an eye roll.
Hey, that's just almost just as good.
Almost as good to get that reaction. Yes, indeed. See, that's a lot of fun. That is, we love creating music, and then we love performing the music,
mm-hmm.
because that's where you get that feedback. For many years we sat and did that literally in our basement, and that's nice. But then you walk out of your basement, you turn the light off, and that's it.
Where it ends.
Where what we do now, we're just so blessed to be able to do that so often each year and connect with people, and it's fun. It's also it's very good for us because we musicians, we creatives, I should say, we creative people are very just horribly insecure in some ways, and you get better with that as you go along.
Sure.
We're getting better with that as we go along, but it's really good to know. What did you guys think? You've got an audience of 2,000 to 2,000 people. Did they like it? Did they not? What did they like? What didn't they like? Because you want to grow.
Surveys.
Yeah, you can't. People hate surveys, so you can't really do that.
No.
But just that idea that when someone expresses in some way that they really appreciate what you do. Yeah.
No, 100, and I like how you commented on the performance part, because that's what makes the interaction authentic,
mm-hmm.
right? If you're just static playing, like I've played the House of Rising Sun at least 100,000 times in my 3 years of playing it, right?
I'm so sorry.
Well, it's a phenomenal song, right? It's the material's dark as anything, right?
Yeah.
But it's you got to perform it. It's a song about sin and really no redemption, at least that I remember. But it's a powerful tool to use to, like, hey, don't do this.
Right.
Not a good idea.
Cautionary
don't
tale
yeah,
type
cautionary
of a deal.
tale, right?
Absolutely.
And every time you put your heart and soul into that solo, it just proves, because another theater lesson. If you can't say it, you got to sing it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's too much to sing, you got to dance about it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
If it's too, if you feel so much emotion, you sing it out. And if it's too much emotion to sing it, then you gotta physically express it, right?
Okay.
And for musicians, physically expressing it is by giving the best B.B. King solo,
Right.
Or right,
Right.
or whatever have you solo that you can do
Right.
to get this message across.
Right.
And you gotta deliver that every single time. or you should at least try to deliver that every single time, to really connect, making music. And you mentioned the human need for interaction and for approval or disapproval or just for feedback. It goes for everybody, not just creatives. Because if the people that are alone all the time, sure, there's introverts like me that once you're out of the house or in the house, you're like, all right, just leave me alone, whatever. But if you do that for too long, you go crazy. Yeah. And humans need that push and pull of conflict resolution or discomfort and comfort or dissonance and consonance, right? If we're talking music, right? Right. And you need that, especially as musicians. You got to be reassured or critiqued, and you're gonna get both.
Yep. And one thing you'll learn is, especially with us, because there's a verse in Scripture that encourages speaking the truth in love. Mm-hmm, yes. Don't ask us if you don't want to know. Just warning you right now. Don't ask us unless you really want to know what we think, because we will very lovingly tell you, because we're assuming you asked the question you really want to know so that you can improve and get better.
Yeah, that's something I got to get better at, because I'm rather blunt when I give my... So it's like, how do I phrase this in a way that doesn't sound like I'm attacking you, but I'm being honest?
Right,
right.
Well, you just look, I love you, so I'm saying this. Here's what I'm saying. And remember, I said I love you.
Hey, remember, I said I love you. You're my friend. I still want to be friends after this.
Don't hurt me.
Here's what I actually think.
Yeah, so that's how we tend to operate. We found a lot of folks especially creatives we were just talking about this, they tend to work more on emotion. Mm. And emotion is, emotion makes you really unstable.
It's
fickle and not dependable and not trustworthy. And when your words like that, success as anything, but especially success in arts is not going to come your way. It's just not, because somebody promises they're going to be here and do the job, they don't come. Maybe I'll give them one more chance, but then after that you're off the list, OTL.
Right.
And you're not coming back because I can't depend on you, and you probably embarrassed me in front of other people, and then you hurt the Sweet Life Music brand.
Right.
And no, Sweet Life Music is whatever they say is what they're going to do, and you can 100% count on it unless they're dead. That's just how it is. Mm. And that I think is a lot of, if we want to talk about why we're successful, that feels strange to say we're successful, but I guess we are. We've been full-time for 12 years.
What do you define it as?
Yeah, well, we've been successful. We've been full-time for 12 years.
And that's pretty darn. That's pretty good definition.
Yeah. I mean, we don't live in. We're not Donald Trump or anything, but we own our home. We have no debt. We live within our means, and it's a wonderful place to be. It really is, and that happened in 2013, which is that's a whole other story. But most of that success is because we do what we say we're going to do, and we keep our promises, and our clients know that.
And that's half of being successful in the music industry. I feel like a lot of musicians don't really, in any industry, honestly. If you say you're going to be there at a certain time, be there at a certain time. Musicians often get this, I don't know what it is, laziness or wishy-washiness. And I've told you this. The reason why I set times 30 minutes from actual start is because I want you to be there.
Oh, gotcha.
So, but no, it's true though. Musicians have this unique ability to be late to almost everything.
That's funny. And what happened when we were you told us to be here at 5 p.m. today, and what time did we walk in the door?
4:50.
That's when we walked in the door, because that's...
No, I totally agree with you. My parents always told me if you're on time, you're late. If you're early, you're on time. And if you're late, you might as well not even show up.
Yeah.
Because it makes an impact. It does.
It really. Well, we're where we are right now, and where all your folks are in the world, but where we are right now is central Pennsylvania. We're about an hour north of Baltimore, or an hour and a half west of Philadelphia. To give you an idea, Lancaster County is very Pennsylvania Dutch. really what Pennsylvania Dutch is just German heritage.
Yeah.
And Germans are orderly and on time. Dag nabbit, that's how it is, and that's just kind of
Especially dealing
in
with
us.
the Amish.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're not Amish or anything,
No.
but when I realized that, wow, I can be ahead of 95% of the people that I'm competing against just by showing up 10 minutes early.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
And because every one of those other people are also going to be like 10, 20 minutes early too. So you get that extra time to just like talk and connect with people. And that's where you make your money. Like by talking and connecting with people, right? Because if you show up, 10 or so minutes early, they're there. Say, well, hey, how are you?
How you doing?
How you doing? Right? Well, we got the time. How's your wife? How's your kids? And that's where you make the true connections.
And we did that today too. We did that same thing. You weren't even privy. You guys listening online, you weren't even privy to half the stuff we talked about because you weren't here on time. So see, you missed out.
We actually started 30 minutes early because we were just ready to go.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Well, we have 2 more songs to get to.
Well, whatever you think.
Let's get to
What are you going to do next?
I think we should get to Aunt Sarah's Jars.
Oh, that's such a good
story.
song. Oh, I love this story. Okay, well, if you ever see us in concert, we'll tell the story. But if you haven't seen us in concert, then pay attention. If you have already, you've heard this story already. We have a friend. She lives nearby here in a little town close by. Her name is Sarah. Sarah, 2 weeks ago? Mm-hmm. So 2 weeks ago, Sarah turned 95 years old.
Wow.
Sarah still lives at home by herself. She's independently. She's doing great. Yeah. Now she's 95, so she gets a lot of help from. We go to see her once a week. She has a lot of family that comes and does things for her, but she's doing great in relationships. She absolutely is. Yeah. She absolutely is, and we've been doing that for a couple years. Just every Tuesday-ish, we go to see her and just hang out for a little while and ask her about anything from 1930 the whole way up through today. And she's got a story. She's got some lesson. She's got something that's interesting that you'll benefit from. And we just love her. But some years ago, she said to us one time as we were getting ready to leave, she said, hey, before you go, if you want some, on the way out the door, there are some glass jars there. And now these jars had my chow chow and my red beets and my mayonnaise and stuff in them. I grew up on a farm in northeast Pennsylvania in the 1930s with nothing, because that was a depression time. So I don't throw anything good away. These are good thick metal lids and thick glass. I just couldn't throw them away.
Things worked, right?
Now, the rule is, and you know this is a universal thing, if somebody offers you something to be nice to you, what do? You
gotta do it back.
Before you do that, though.
Oh, say thank you.
And you're going to take whatever that is.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You that whatever it is, if you want it or not, you own it. It's yours because you don't want to offend somebody.
Sure.
So that's what we did, and I thought we're going to take these things home and throw them in the trash ourselves. That isn't what happened at all. We found out our next door neighbor lives 30 feet from us, had been in the hospital, was coming home that day, and she's so awesome. She says, I'm going to fill those up with some chicken corn soup. And I'm going to give them to our neighbor so he doesn't have to cook for a few days while he gets better at home. Isn't that, you're awesome. And the best part was I got to be the taste tester because you don't want to give something poisonous to anybody.
Right.
So I took that hit and it worked out really well. He was so touched that to this day, whenever she makes any kind of soup about once a week, I have to let the neighbor know, hey, she's making this, and yep, send it on over. So this thing has turned into a blessing, and now we do it for other people too. So if we find out that, if we're close enough to you, if we find out you're hurt or sick or something's going on, there's a good chance you're going to get some of those mayonnaise jars with some kind of soup or pasta or something in them just to bless and let you know people care about you. And what an amazing thing from stuff that should have just got thrown in the trash.
Right.
And instead, it's a huge blessing.
Well, let's take a listen to Aunt Sarah's Jars.
Aunt Sarah's family came from Dublin. She was born in 22. She talked about the Great Depression and a neighbor who had helped them through with applesauce and relish jars full of soups and salad. At 18 she decided she would make it her tradition. And Sarah's jars, they filled the hungry. And Sarah's jars, they fed the souls of dads and moms and scores of children who remember every one of Aunt Sarah's jars. Sometimes they came back washed and empty. Other times they came back full. In the best of times they got paid forward to another needy family down the road. Now mayonnaise and pickle jars got loaded with spaghetti and pressed into the hands of anyone who came to visit. And Sarah's jars, they filled the hungry. And Sarah's jars, they fed the souls of dads and moms and scores of children who remember every one of Aunt Sarah's jars. This past September, the church was full of life she touched, but her legacy is moving forward. For each mourner that took one of Aunt Sarah's jars, now mayonnaise and pickle jars in 100 different houses are pressed into the hands of anyone who comes to visit. And Sarah's jars still fill the hungry. And Sarah's jars still feed the souls of dads and moms and scores of children who remember all the love in Aunt Sarah's jars. And Sarah's jars still fill the hungry. And Sarah's jars still feed the souls of dads and moms and scores of children who remember all the love in Aunt Sarah's jars. We remember every one of Aunt Sarah's jars. There was love in every one of Aunt Sarah's jars.
And that was Aunt Sarah's Jars.
Yay.
Cute little song. Cute little song. I really
Thank
did
you.
enjoy it. Yeah. And now we get to talk about something awful, but also
Yeah, a little more serious
more
now.
serious stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Bring it on, brother.
sometimes I forget. Sometimes I forget whenever I walk into a room. Forget what I'm doing.
Oh, wait till you get older.
I'm sure it only gets worse with time.
That doesn't go away.
I know my parents forgot me at a store once, and I'm just waiting for that to happen to me too.
Oh my.
It's okay. It was a nice neighborhood where everyone knew
Okay,
each other,
that's good.
So it was a good place to
Yeah.
forget me.
If you
But
had to have it happen.
I'm waiting for that day. I know. I can see it happening to me because you know, one day you have a kid. You're not used to having a kid for 25 years of your life. You're like, just do I have my keys, my wallet? Oh, my kid!
Yeah. I hope that never happens to you.
I hope so too. Or else I will never hear the end of it from my girlfriend. Or anyway, this is not about that. This is about
Right. This is a little different.
a little different. Go and explain it to me.
Sure. This is a song we wrote. Several years ago now. It's a song about Alzheimer's and dementia, things like that. We do play a lot of retirement communities and a lot of rehabs and things like that. That's definitely a lot of our clients, and a lot of those folks, you grow close to them because we'll see them once a month or once every quarter or something like that, and we see these folks, and because we're just there for like an hour and a half or 2 hours, and then we're out, and then it's a while, and then we see them again, we can see the change happen. Where folks that are just with them every day, it's so gradual you wouldn't necessarily notice.
That's how it was with my grandma.
Yeah, just one day you just realize, wow, what happened, but you didn't see it coming. Where we do, because we're just taking that snapshot every so often, and we grow close to these people, and then we watch that start to happen to them, and as much as that rips us up, can only imagine, in the situation that you were in with someone that you love, and you're watching that happen, and you're helpless. There's nothing you can do. So we just wanted to give those people a voice. So it's written from the perspective of someone like your grandmother would have been, and we wanted to give those people a voice to say, look, I'm still in here. Here's what I need. I don't mean to be like this. I can't help it.
I don't mean to be mad or.
Right. I don't, because some of them you'll see personality changes. People, they just change, and sometimes in a lot of cases they just lose the ability to speak. So even just making themselves understood, they want to, but they don't know how anymore. The ones that they can't even hold your gaze anymore. They can't handle looking in the eyes. They have to look away. We see all that stuff happen, and it's as hard as it is for us, because we're just trying to get them woo-woo and excited and enjoy the music for an hour.
Right.
But for someone day to day that works with them, or it's somebody that you love,
it's rough.
Yeah, I can imagine it's something we haven't experienced that way ourselves.
I'll tell you my story.
Okay.
So I lived in Lancaster. My grandmother and my family lived down in Maryland, and I get this call. My grandmother is the sharpest tack you would ever meet. Witty. She taught like collegial English for years, so she knows her stuff. She's the reason why I'm like such a grammar freak, right? And everything else, right? And one day she calls me and says, "Hey, is this your number?" And I'm like, threw me for a loop, right? And it's like, well, you obviously called me, right?
Yeah.
And so that was my like first response, like maybe she's playing a joke on me or something, right? And so I'm like joking around with her, and then she's like, "But this is your number, right?" And I'm like, "Oh, you're serious?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, well, I can't remember the password of my Facebook," and I was like, "Well, that's standard. You always forget your password to your Facebook or whatever."
Yeah.
And then the next time I saw her, she was in the hospital. So and my dad and my sister watched it kind of go, like as you say, but for me it was that snapshot of like, I used to call her every week, and she would still be sharp, but there was just something off about it. She would keep repeating the phrase, "Well, at any rate," and like whenever she would like mumble, just rambling, which is normal for her. But she would just start, getting quieter. At any rate, and then get to her point. And that was never something that she ever did. And so I saw that happen, and then she's in the hospital now. I'm meeting her for the last time. Not that I knew, but I was meeting her for the last time, and I started asking her if she remembered Mom, and she couldn't.
Yeah.
She couldn't remember her own daughter. That tore me apart.
Yeah.
And for multiple different reasons, right? Because Mom's gone, my mom's gone.
Okay.
So and she was like the last, besides my dad, right? My dad is just stories about Mom, but she was the last like connection to my mother that she had known her entire life, and thank God that I had the sense to talk to her about the family history and
Yeah.
and why she was a baby boomer, and that generation had. The whole hippie age and everything, and she has that story.
Uh-oh.
she might have left her husband for another man. But scandal aside, I was happy to learn her history, right? Learn her story before she didn't even know her own,
Right.
right? And I encourage anybody that's got any sort of meaningful family member to them that's getting older is to pick their brain and see what they have to say, because she sure was maybe like a reckless teenager who isn't,
Right.
for the most part, right? But she's got those nuggets of wisdom that may not really apply to you today, but it's just interesting to learn about. And then she'll say something, it's like, oh, I can actually use that right now. Right?
Right.
So yeah, I encourage anybody that's got older family, just to pick their brains and see what they got, and because oftentimes you'll see patterns, because personalities can be genetic in some cases, right? Because nature versus nurture, obviously, but your tendencies to be like your parents, to be like their grandparents, to be so on and so forth. And you get to see, okay, that's where I got that from. This is where I got this phrase from. This is where I got this little, this finger thing that I do. She does that all the time. Yeah, because, they pass down their isms to you.
Right.
And you get to see the history behind it and understand yourself more because you understand them more.
100%.
And I think that's one of the most magical parts of having family, right? You get to see all these connections, and you get to see how they play out from the past.
Right.
I know my dad's an alcoholic. His dad before him was an alcoholic. I probably haven't disposed. My mom was an alcoholic. I probably haven't disposed of alcohol. So what am I gonna do? Not fall into the same trap, right?
100%.
Right, and so on and so forth. Either smoking, there's a funny story that I probably shouldn't tell. I'm gonna tell it anyway because she's dead and no one can do anything about it.
Uh-oh, here we go, folks. Buckle up.
My mother gave me a cigarette when I was 9 years old.
Wow.
She said, "Here, take this, inhale it." She had a cup of water next to me. And as soon as I did it, I started coughing up like nobody's business because, I'm 9.
Right.
Haven't smoked a cigarette since.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep, 100%.
Great parenting. Little edgy, but...
Effective parenting.
Effective parenting, maybe we should say.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, we'll go with that. But I get back to the point. Talk to your family members. Get to know their story.
Yeah.
And... prevent, to get to learn.
Well, I'll add to that. Write it down.
Yeah, there's a book that I want to give my dad that is like, tell me your story.
Yes.
I want to give it to him because what I wouldn't give to have my mother have done that to me, because she, when she passed away, or before she had passed away, she says, I got stories I can't tell you yet because you're not over 18.
There you go.
So she's got some raunchy stories that she wants to tell me, but she can't. And all of her stories had a moral to them, right?
Okay.
They always had something like, she would tell me, my grandfather told me to go out and pick a stick, and she was like, I should get one of the thinnest sticks because the thinnest sticks they won't hurt as much. Right?
Wrong,
yeah, exactly.
Wrong.
Always has like those kind of a moral of the story kind of thing. So whenever my dad told me to get a stick, I'd pick a big one he couldn't carry.
Back with a tree.
Yeah, right. It's like, but if you hit me with that, it would have been over anyway. But might have been worse. No, I want to give my dad that book and have him write it down and
do it.
And
if they're willing, if the people are willing,
he would so be willing.
By absolute, yeah. And the other thing I'm thinking of is if like this one here has a library of recipes, and a lot of them are in her own hand or in her mother's hand, and that's precious. So
it is.
So anything you can get like that, yeah. So anything you can do like that, yeah, because this does not retain things. Even if they tell you the story 100 times, you're gonna miss something. So just write that sucker down, and preserve that if you can. Yeah, I just think that's important.
Well, back to the song.
Yeah.
Let's listen to Sometimes I Forget.
Smile and tell me your name and just how we know each other. Patiently talk to me and tell me the stories of how we first met. Patiently. Sometimes I forget who you are. Sometimes I forget what you mean to me. Why are you standing so close? Your face seems familiar, but I just don't know. Say your name, offer your hand. Remind me who you are again, 'cause sometimes I forget. I'm still here. My mind's gone to heaven, one piece at a time. Patiently love me whatever I say. Please know that I'm doing the best that I can. Patiently. Sometimes I forget who you are. Sometimes I forget what you mean to me. Why are you standing so close? Your face seems familiar, but I just don't know. Say your name, offer your hand. Remind me who you are again, 'cause sometimes I forget. Help me believe what you're saying is real, and believe I'm still in here somewhere. Sometimes I forget who I am. Sometimes I forget what I mean to you. Holding the mirror too close. My face seems familiar, but I just don't know. Say my name, say you're a friend. Remind me who I am again, 'cause sometimes I forget. I'm doing the best that I can. Sometimes I just smile and pretend everything's just like it's been. But sometimes I forget.
And that was Sometimes I Forget, a really raw but impactful song. I think it's some of your best work, to be quite honest.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. No, I
Thank
mean,
you, man.
I like, especially when, I I reviewed that song when my grandmother was going through that, and it's one of those songs, like we were talking about it over the break. It's like one of those songs you listen to when you're already feeling sad.
Right.
It just makes you feel better about the situation.
Yeah.
Right, and of course, if we're believers, obviously, we know that they're going towards a better place anyway.
If they've made that decision, then
yeah,
absolutely
right,
they
exactly,
are.
yeah. I definitely think my grandmother is up there, smiling, happy, at her sharp, witty self, cracking jokes.
She can remember everything now. Yeah,
she can remember everything now, and she can, she's happy. And
that's wonderful.
And that's all. That's all I need.
Well, then introduce us.
Well,
not right now. Not right now. But
I thought you've been at Sweet Life Music. I was I'm pretty sure I did that earlier.
When we're all like 100 and we're all in heaven together,
we'll
introduce us to Grandma then. But not today. Thank you. It's like, whoa. Oh, that's funny.
Well, kind of rounding out the show.
Okay.
What do you guys got coming up?
What do we have coming up? If you go to our website, we have a lot of public events. Most of our things that we do are privately contracted, so it's not that we can really put them out there for folks to just come off the street. But we have a lot of things in May, a lot of things in June.
And what's your website called again?
SweetLifeMusic.com. SweetLifeMusic.com. Yes, I have to spell that out for people all the time when I'm trying to tell them and I'm proving who I am to pay my electric bill or whatever. I have to tell them all that stuff.
That's right.
So SweetLifeMusic.com. You can also find us on Facebook and all the standard things. You can also stream the song on basically every streaming site there is in the whole world. We're on like 300 of those. So Spotify, YouTube, whatever you want to do, we're all over the place. Just SweetLifeMusic.com. You'll see our list there. You'll be able to listen to all the recordings we've ever done. They're all on there. And yeah, some fun videos are on there. So we're really fascinating people. So trust me, we're fascinating people.
I wouldn't have them on if I didn't like them. So, again, I should say.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Typically, the third Sunday of the month, we lead the worship at our home church in Elizabethtown. It's Lifegate Church on Bossler Road in Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania. So you can typically see us there.
Do you guys have food after your service?
Sometimes.
Okay, sometimes I will be there.
Okay. I will let you know. We know to bribe people with food. We know how it is. So we'll let you know about that one. Typically, the last Sunday of the month, they'll have we call in our parlance, we call it a fellowship.
Fellowship, yeah.
But that's definitely, those are good days.
No, I think, not to be a radical, but I think if you don't have church and food after, you're doing something wrong.
Well,
that's just my ism. That does not affect your salvation.
No, not at all. That's a cultural thing.
But fellowship is massively important.
It's vital.
Yeah, it's vital. Yeah.
The last 5 years, with everything that happened, there was this attempt to isolate everyone, and that, I believe, that was by design, because when we're separated, we're weaker.
Yes.
And it's easier
conquer. What was it called?
Well, divided we.
Conquer. Yeah, divided conquer. Yeah.
Divided we stand, divided we fall.
Yes,
that's what I was trying to get to. But a house divided cannot stand. Yep. Yes, and all of that's true. So when you're divided, then you're by yourself. It's easier to fall into addictions. It's easier to believe lies. Mm-hmm. It's easier to be depressed. It's just easier to do every dark thing there is. Where when you're with other folks, then it's much harder for that stuff to come in and get a hold of you.
Yeah.
And that's important. That's why there's even a command in the Bible, if you're a believer, that says, do not forsake the gathering together of the brethren in the Old English, but your brothers and your sisters. You got to have that family time.
Yeah. Fellowship, yes.
Absolutely. If you need family, come. If you got family, bring them along.
Yeah, right. Well, with all that said, you are Sweet Life Music, Matt and Carole. You can find them at sweetlifemusic.com. You can find me at CoryRoseProductions.com and all the other things that I do over there. And we will see you guys some other time.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.